Aisha, can you say something? We can just.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yes. Yep, we can hear you.
Okay.
Good evening. Calling to order the Tuesday, December 19th, 5 p.m. Committee of the Whole meeting. We'll all rise and salute the flag. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America
And to the republic for which it stands, one
under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dr. Galucci, would you call the roll?
Mrs. Bronson.
here.
Mr. Ferranti.
Here.
Mr. Kingston.
Here.
Mrs. Milbury-Ellis.
Present.
Ms. Monterosso.
Here.
Ms. Ty.
Absent.
Mayor-elect Keefe.
Here. So before we go into the consent calendar, I did want to offer our condolences to Ms. Ty's family member. So Ms. Ty will not be, pardon me, her brother-in-law will not, she will not be here this evening, but we wanted to offer condolences to the Ty family. I also did want to point out one point of personal privilege. There was a lot of scuttlebutt about some form of secretive or late motion that was going to come up on tonight's agenda. I want to make sure for all the viewing audience and anyone in participation here this evening that it's news to myself, it's news to all the members. So feel free to stay tuned for the entire meeting, but there will be no dramatic effect tonight with any late motions. So just know that if you ever have any questions, you can always reach out to the school committee, and we'll be happy to answer. Thank you. So first item up for bid, we have the approval of minutes.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
It's consent calendar.
Sorry, consent calendar.
No questions on the consent calendar.
Hearing and seeing none. Any questions on the warrants?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Ferrante?
thank you. Matt, on page 3, number 108, Boston College campus, it says consultant/professional learning for $30,000. Just a quick explanation, please.
It's a program happening at the high school. Do you know the details?
I actually thought this is not one of our special ed programs?
No, it's BC is doing a professional development year with the high school teaching staff.
Right.
And the way that works is there's a bill for the year, and there'll be installments that we pay as the work gets done. The vendor's probably the same as the BC campus school that we use for payment, but this is a professional development program that's happening with high school teachers.
All right, I have one more. On page 11, number 405, it says Greater Boston League, I'm sure it's athletics, assessment fees for $22,000. What would be assessment fees?
That is a combination of every single fee we pay to the GBL across all sports, middle now and high school, for everything that goes with setting. Assessment is a narrow word for what it is. It's everything for the operations to happen for those sports throughout the season, setting schedules, officials being in place, tournament venues being selected, everything to do with us participating in the GBL. Instead of 7 or 8 different purchase orders for the different sports and levels, it's coming now in a consolidated statement for the year. So that's 3 seasons of sports across 6 grades.
So it's
And
a one,
just to clarify, since we're in an educational setting, it's a different use of the word assessment. It doesn't mean test. It means that they're assessing the fees on us.
Right.
For all of that participation, that all the work they do for us, so our kids can participate in athletics with the GBL.
If you go back several years, you would see fall sports, winter sports, spring sports, and triple the work of the invoicing. So now they consolidate it in a single bill with a breakout of the different assessments for the different sports.
all right, and just on page 14, 515, 516, this is to Dr. Galucci with the flip lock. So we can just get a little status in this thing. You did tell us that they are being audited. When will they be come into stock, and then when can we get them installed?
Sure, so we already have them in stock. They're all separated by school.
Yep.
The public bid was just rewarded this week for the installation portion. That had to go to public bid. Thankfully, Flip Block was not only the lowest bidder, but they created the product, so they were probably the most qualified. So they won the bid, and now our next step is to set up that installation timeline at all the schools.
Do we know what the actual amount was for the installation?
74,000, I
In
believe.
the mid-70s, yeah.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
I believe the next lowest bid was 150,000.
We did good.
With your guidance.
Thank you. Any other questions, committee members? No? Okay. On to, we have no other financial reports. Food service financials, there are none. Communications, any communications or late communications? No? Okay. Enrollment update, we do not have one. And personnel items, we have attached, new hire and retirement report. Dr. Kelly, you want to go over that?
Sure, so there are biographies provided for any of the new teachers, including their education level and where they attended school, and their current assignment in the Revere Public Schools. And after that, you have the more basic list, but it includes all staff members, not just teachers. And that's divided into the new hires, resignations, retirements, transfers, and other categories. So if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to.
Thank you. Mr.
Chairman.
Ferrante?
Yeah. At this point, probably the first question, Dr. Galucci, paraprofessionals, where do we stand with how many vacant positions? And the same thing with you, Dr. Kelly, for teachers, I know you've been advertising for.
So we were in single digits, but we had a few resignations. I think we have 13 vacancies across the district right now. I have to say that I believe 8 of those vacancies are between Beachmont Elementary and Garfield Elementary. There are a lot of schools that are completely staffed. So for some strange reason, it's flipped a little bit. In the old days, I had more difficulty hiring for high school and middle school. Now it seems like a lot of candidates want those 2 levels. But I have an interview tomorrow. We have another upcoming Parapro exam in January, and the hope is we can get back down to single digits and even lower than we were.
Did anybody take the test in December?
No.
No.
I think that's pretty common. I was reflecting back on last year, and I feel like December's test last year had the lowest amount,
Okay.
and now we had basically none.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
As far as the teachers, we still do have several openings across the district, and we continue to have the occasional resignation come up. We've gotten 2 resignations this month, in the month of December. Both of them were for after the break. So those staff members are still with us, but we're actively trying to find replacements, knowing they're going to be moving on after the holidays.
Thank you. Ms. Rizzo?
And just if we could help out Dr. Galucci and everyone, when we get the emails about the paraprofessional testing or the hiring, if you can just tweet it out or put it on your social media, it does help a lot. Because from there, other people share it too.
When's the next test? Do we know?
Thank you. Dr. Galucci?
Just one more note on paraprofessional hiring. So we work with a company in Boston that if someone has a degree from another country or college credits, we help them get that translated. I think sometimes that's a deterrent and people don't know about that service. But if they reach out to us, Robin does a great job of putting them in touch with that service, and we fully accept that degree. So it does not have to be a degree from the U.S. in order to get hired as a paraprofessional.
Yes, great. Okay, so that's it on personnel. Acceptance of donations, we have a grant award here.
Yes, we actually have 2 grant awards. I'll start with the first one. Is a competitive grant that we received for proficiency-based outcomes for our English language learner students. And that's a grant that Jennifer Labalita and her team applied for and were awarded in the amount of $21,014. They're going to use that money to give the STAMP assessment, which is the same assessment we use for the Seal of Biliteracy, but they're going to give that assessment to all Level 1 and Level 2 EL students and world language courses to help ensure the curriculum is aligned to the expected proficiency levels and that our students are making progress toward the Seal of Biliteracy. The second grant is a little bit more money. It's $51,453. And this is more of an awarded grant from the state. The state changed the IEP forms that we use for all students across the Commonwealth this year. And this funding is to help train teachers on how to use the new IEP form. So there are really 3 things that we're doing with the 51,000, and Sarah Humis is leading the way on this. The first is making Power School work better so that all teachers will have better access to each individual student's IEP and can understand the parameters better than what we have right now in Power School. And then the second piece is professional development for the teachers to learn how to effectively use the new forms. And that includes the third piece, which is stipends to train the teachers and engage in that professional development, which is happening outside of the school day.
Anyone have any questions? Ms. Rizzo?
Just on the grants, the teacher diversification grant, do we know how much that is if we're invited? I know we're
Yeah.
invited, but if we can get it, do we know how much?
I believe it was about $100,000 each of the last 2 years. I'd have to go back and look. I know Dr. Garcia sent an email about that today, and he fully intends to apply for the third round. But if my memory serves, it was about $100,000 each year.
Thank you.
Ms. Kelly, Dr. Kelly, I do have a question, and just regarding the grant for the 51,000. Does that cover the entire expense for this program, or is there other costs associated, with instituting this IEP program and the stipends?
I think it depends on how you look at it. It's definitely helpful. Basically, it was a change in the state regulation on what forms we are able to use. So they could have just said, hey, go start using these new forms. And we would have had to figure out how to train teachers and get that all done on our own. But the state thankfully put this protocol in place, and they have arranged for the professional development with different companies that know how to deliver to teachers so that the teachers will effectively be able to implement the new IEPs. And my understanding is that the IEP form is much better and much clearer and will really help families and students get the services that they need and will help other educators understand ways that they can implement things in the classroom to help that child with the IEP access the curriculum more easily.
Okay, thank you.
One of the foundational characteristics of the new IEP is that it really focuses on the child's assets, which is a bit of a change. So we certainly reference assets in the narrative portions of the existing IEP, but now it's going to be a full, a complete piece of the foundational IEP itself, where the child's assets, in addition to their challenges, will be listed out. So it's very, it gets away from any type of deficit mindset and really focuses on what the kids can do and what their strengths are and where their challenges lie.
Thank you, Dr. Colucci. Any other questions? No? Okay. School field trips, we do not have any, and then regular meeting agenda items. It's close to our meeting of the whole, committee of the whole. Any other business? Okay. Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We will see you at the 6 PM meeting. Thank you.